Okay, here we go on number 5. Actually, I'm sorry, number 6. It says it says, what is the true course to steer between the entrance of Winnipeg Pond and the entrance of Lake Montauk if you're turning 8.5 knots, allowing for a current of 95 degrees at 0.9 knots and an easterly wind causing 3 degrees of leeway. So again, I write the word speed, current, and leeway. And I take that information from the problem. So it says my speed is 8.5 knots. So 8.5 knots. The current is 95 degrees at 0.9 knots. So 95 degrees at 0.9 knots. And the wind is east at 3 degrees. East 3 degrees. So now that I know that, I'm going from Winnipeg Pond, which is up here somewhere, Winnipeg Pond, the entrance right there, okay, down to, where am I going? Lake Montauk. So, hey, I've already got a line drawn because we did that same 2 points in a previous problem. So I'm going to draw a line between those 2 places. Okay, my line happens to already exist. And then I'm going to find my DR. So I've got 8.5 knots, okay, which is more than my dividers will open. So I'm going to take half of 8.5. So that'd be 4 and 2.5. So 4.25. So I'll open these up to 4.25, 4.2, and I'm going to double check to see if I end up on 8.5, just to be sure, and I do. Okay, that way you make sure that you're not making an error. So I'm going from the entrance of Winnipeg Pond, which is right here, and I'm going 8.5 miles. So there's half of 8.5, 4.25, okay, or 4.25. So here's my DR. So I've got that marked. That's where I should be in an hour. I'll put a half circle around it to indicate that it's a DR. Okay. Now I've got to draw a current of 95 degrees. Okay, 95 at 0.9. Okay, so I'm going to find 95 degrees. So here's 90. 90. So there's 95. All right, there's 95. So I'm going to go up to my starting point, Winnipeg Pond. So there's 95. I'm going to draw that from the starting point. Okay, and now I am going to go 0.9. So 0.9, just a little bit short of a mile. Okay, that's how far I would drift in an hour. So here's 0.9, and I mark that on the line that I just drew. If only I can see it. There it is. Winnipeg Pond. Whoops, Winnipeg Pond. Did I draw the line? There it is. Okay, Winnipeg Pond, and there's my mark. Okay, sometimes gets a little bit hard to see. So now I'm going from the mark to my DR, and I'm going to put the parallel rule on those 2 points, and then I'm going to walk it over to the compass rose, which is not far, and I'm going to read the course in the direction that I'm going. So I'm going from Winnipeg to Lake Montauk. Okay, from Winnipeg to Lake Montauk. So I'm going to mark that. Looks like about 2:10. I'm going to call that 2:15, maybe 2:14. Yeah, it looks like closer to 2:14. Okay. Yep, 2:14. So I'm going to write that down. 214. Again, this is number 6 here. Okay, so I've got a course of 214, but I have to compensate for an easterly wind. Okay, so my heading is 214, but I've got an easterly wind causing 3 degrees of leeway. So I've got to steer back into the wind by 3 degrees. So instead of steering 214, I'm going to steer that way. So that'd be -3. So it'd be 211. Okay, so my course 214 minus 3 would be 211. And so I look for an answer. Okay, number 6. I look for an answer, and there it is, 211 for number 6. So number 6, you should have C as your final answer.